feel like 2020 could be the resurrection of zombie shows. From this to Kingdom, get it, resurrection? Like zombies? No. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Brand new series dropped this morning. Only 4 episodes. That was a refreshing binge. This is Betaal. I need you in the comments down below. Have you heard of this Indian web series, and what are your thoughts on it? Let's get into it. So, a remote village becomes the arena of a breathless battle when an undead East India Company officer and his battalion of zombie redcoats attack a squad of modern-day soldiers. It's very much an action-heavy show. We get thrown right into it at the beginning. There are horror elements, there are thrilling elements, and it's a show that I think a lot of people are going to come away from saying, that was a ride. Maybe not everyone's going to love the ride, love the journey, but it is absolutely a ride that stays consistently entertaining throughout. Now, I may have had more nitpicks with the characters than some others. I can say that they really executed on what I think the most important thing is when it comes to showcasing a zombie show or movie, and that is atmosphere. You stick to that tone that you set up from the beginning. They do a good job of that. Then they give us this creepy, horrifying atmosphere with some really good-looking special effects, practical for the most part. Occasionally we veer into CGI territory, but it looks really good. Is it a scary show? Well, I'm not one to necessarily get scared when I watch something like this, but it is one that keeps you on the edge of your seat because you're always curious what is going to happen next. And I think a lot of this comes from, at points, the direction, which is good for the most part, but it really comes down to the cast, and I think pretty much everyone is great in this show. We start out with a contractor who wants to evacuate this tunnel to make room for a highway, but then you have these locals who are very superstitious. They're saying this tunnel is cursed. Do not mess with this. Well, guess what? They mess with it, they realize this mountain is indeed cursed, and they face this resistance from a horrifying-looking group of tribal individuals in what is basically an otherworldly attack. From there, we get evil spirits, an army of zombies, lots of lore to explore. Now, I think the issue with this being 4 episodes is the fact that we weren't able to flesh these characters out, and even the lore to a degree. I liked what we got from that, but we weren't able to flesh things out to their true and full potential. Like I said, I love the acting. I think pretty much everyone nails their role. Every now and then someone goes a bit overboard in terms of line delivery, but for the most part, it worked. I just didn't know or care enough about these characters to get behind a few of their motivations, and then you have the fact that it progresses into what it turns into in the final few episodes, and the stakes are real. And certain characters, you're a bit worried because they do not refrain from taking out characters that you fall in love with in this series, which I like. There are high stakes, like I said, but they're just not built up in the first few episodes, even though I will say, I think the first episode in particular is a great establishment of this world. They do a good job of telling you what you need to know, continuing to surprise you along the way, filling it with twists and turns that are sometimes predictable, that are sometimes cliche, and occasionally it does hit that cheesy territory, something I wanted it to refrain from. You look at a show like Kingdom. Kingdom does a great job of not actually getting cheesy, even though sometimes it could call for that. This show does get cheesy, but it still is thrilling enough, provides enough scares, and keeps you on the edge of your seat. I will admit, there were multiple times where I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, how do you survive this situation, A? And then B, what is going to happen to some of these characters? Because they frankly get themselves in a predicament you just don't see them winning. You just don't see them coming back from, and they did a spectacular job of bringing that to life. And speaking of bringing things to life, like I said before, the visuals were really good, but when you get up close and you get those shots that could have been a bit much, it was perfect. And I just applaud everyone involved with the special effects in this show. They did a great job of making it look as good as possible. There were a few times when elements were supposed to be realistic and they didn't quite come across as realistic. Couple of newscasts, and I thought the music was a bit cheesy, and certain lines were a bit cringeworthy. So I don't think the show, opinion-wise, lived up to its full potential. I've seen this concept executed a bit better, but I liked what they set up, and I appreciated the attempt absolutely. It's not often you get a horror-esque show that's almost as much of a thriller as it is a horror show. in this vein, and you're mixing modern-day elements and modern-day cops with this centuries-old British Indian Army officer and his zombie redcoats. I mean, it's a pretty cool concept. It takes a lot of imagination to come up with something like that, and I thought it was executed pretty well. I think here's the best word to use. I think that word is unique. I scoured across Twitter to see who is tweeting about this show and what they've been saying, and I saw that word used a couple of times. So I did not invent this when it comes to talking about this show, but it is unique. I haven't seen anything like it. I think I would be higher on Betaal if it scared me a bit more and delivered on a few elements that it set up in that first episode. I thought it was a really strong start. Like I said, it did start to lose me, but this is a recommendation from me, especially if you're fans of this genre. If you're a fan of horror, you're a hardcore zombie guy or a girl, I do think you're going to appreciate this show. If you wanted a bit more development and depth, I honestly believe you'll be a bit disappointed, and I completely understand that. So before I give you guys my score, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like these Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I'm doing it again. I'm going 6 out of 10, a 60%. I have been in the 6 to 7 range for the last couple of months, it feels like, with some of these Netflix reviews. They have been consistent in quality, I'll give them that, but I still, in a while at least, haven't seen that show that's blown me away. But it's another show, I think, for the audience it intends to hit, I recommend. So thank you guys so much for your recommendations, too. I've been getting a lot of comments this morning to review this. I appreciate you guys for everything that you do, showing that support. And what's coming out on Netflix next? I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching.